Alice Funke of PunditsGuide.ca is our electoral guru, and she's just spent sleepless nights crunching, writing figures to sort out which party has the most bedrock support and potential gains, and she joins me live. Welcome to the show.
John.
I guess you've gone and crunched these to show core seats, how many parties sort of have these in the bag. What's it look like? What's the number approximately?
Well, I mean, my view is controversial, but it's my judgment based on my data, my contacts, my stomach. And it's subject to change as we go through, but I just think the battlegrounds have changed a lot in this election, and I wanted to get a handle on those. So according to me, the Conservatives should, you know, they could fall and still claim 70 seats. Like, that would be their rock bottom. I think the NDP 63 with an asterisk about Quebec,
here's the graphic, just
and 18, I think, for the Liberals.
Right.
And then I sort of looked at what were the two-way contests between each of the parties. So let's think about this.
We're just looking at the stats as we go.
Okay.
So there's the Conservatives, 70. Looks like they own Alberta still, and they do, well, 22 in Ontario. I guess that's sort of, here's the Liberals, so they get 18. They take a lot in Atlantic Canada, not so much anywhere else, really. And let's have a look at the NDP. You've still got them holding on to 46 for sure in Quebec, right?
But that was, I did that on the basis of Mr. Nanos's Sunday numbers.
Has it changed that dramatically in 24 hours?
I mean, the thing is, when we look at the Nanos and the Abacus research that came out, I'm asking myself what an increased split in Quebec really does. Where are those Liberals coming from? Many of the experts think that Mr. Trudeau did not benefit from the Quebec debate or the NECAB, that in fact it's the Bloc and the Conservatives coming up. Now their support will be more concentrated. So I would argue, and I'm sorry about this, I would argue that that's more likely to turn into Bloc and Conservative seats than it is for the Liberals. You caught me.
I know, you're busted. Turn that phone off. All right, got three-way contests. You've had a look at those. There's like 36 three-way contests that the Conservatives are involved in. Eh? That's quite a, there's a bit of a seesaw going on here.
Well, I think there's sort of, in my mind, about 45 in the middle, and then about 45 between each of the parties. So if for a party to do well, it's got to hold its seats and it's got to move out and win two-way fights with the other two and get in on some of the three-way contests. And if you gain votes from one party, it could help you gain seats from another party. So now we get into all this three-dimensional chess of the electoral system.
But help me understand how your assessment today, I was reading it, suggests the Liberals have a much harder time to win seats. Why?
Well, because in British Columbia, when the Liberal vote comes up across the province, it's cutting into Conservative vote and allowing the NDP to move ahead in the interior. Before 1993, when the Liberals had a base of support across Western Canada, in fact, that's how the vote shares used to look. And so where the Liberals do come up in the upscale Vancouver, it's enough to win them seats. But if it comes up from, let's say, 10% to 30% in Kamloops, that's not a win. But maybe it makes Kamloops in play for the NDP.
Oh, okay. It's math, and you understand it better than I do. It was a very interesting blog. Quickly, tell me the deadlines today for candidates to get out. So what happens if more quit?
Well, if they get off, okay, 2 o'clock local time across the country was the deadline to get on. 5 o'clock local time across the country was the deadline to get off. And so if between 2 and 5 a war room to candidate from another party, then they're stuck on the ballot in that name. The party has no more chance to replace them.
Oh, I see.
And it would be too late after 5 o'clock today to get off the ballot. But there were a number of candidates. The Liberals replaced their candidate in Cowichan at the last minute. The 9/11 Truth person. And you know, the vigilante vetters got to her, and I think the Liberals decided to replace her.
You were still sort of doing the calculation. It's still about 80 total, like for getting off for whatever reason. There have been 80 candidates leave the ballot.
Well, remember
far?
that there were Conservatives nominated in 2014 who subsequently retired from the ballot.
Right.
There were some candidates who left over policy differences. There were some who left for procedural reasons,
And
but
the
there
ones
were
that got
vetting
kicked
victims.
off. Yes. All right. Alice, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.